In July, Mechelen fell to Farnese, and then, in August, Antwerp. To properly lay siege on Antwerp, Farnese had to capture two defensive forts, Liefkenshoek and Lillo. On the day that Willem of Orange was shot and killed, July 10, 1584, the Governor-General seized Fort Liefkenshoek by setting hay carts on fire near the city walls. The smoke prevented the rebels from defending the place. Farnese killed all 800 soldiers stationed there, drowning half of them in the river. He sent good old 78-year-old Cristobal de Mondragon y Otalara de Mercado to take Fort Lillo. The colonel shot 50,000 pounds of gunpowder at the walls but made no dent in the fortress. Mondragon was losing his men fast. And when the rebels opened the sluice gates and flooded the area, the Spanish were forced to retreat. But eventually they returned and captured Fort Lillo. With the two forts now in his possession, Farnese formally laid siege on Antwerp on August 17, 1584. He cut off the supply lines into town by building a ship bridge across the Scheldt. He hoped the bridge would last long enough to starve the population into surrender. The bridge, a unique feat of siege engineering, had forts with cannons on each side of the river to protect it. By winter, the Antwerp citizens were starving, and when Brussels fell in March 1585, morale in the town plummeted. The rebels now flooded the lowlands, submerging most roads and leaving Spanish forts either flooded or isolated on small islands. They then tried to steer fire ships into the bridge, but the royal troops managed to push almost all of them off with pikes. One of the fire ships filled with gunpowder exploded though, killing 800 Spanish and nearly taking out Farnese, who happened to be on the bridge at that moment. In May 1585, Lieutenant General Hohenlohe tried to break the siege, but a misunderstanding at the Kouwensteinse dike led to a failure. Hohenlohe botched up his second attempt because he thought he'd won and left. But he hadn't won. As a last-ditch effort to break the siege of Antwerp, the rebels sent the Finis Bellis, a huge floating platform that would destroy the bridge on impact. It ran aground before it even got going. In the end, a year into the siege, the Dutch were forced to admit defeat. On August 17, 1585, the town surrendered to the Governor-General, who gave them exceptionally mild terms. The city wasn't sacked, and there was no repeat of the Spanish fury. Farnese installed a powerful garrison of Castilians to defend the city against future rebel attacks. However, a bit further downriver, the rebel fleet blocked the city's access to the sea, cutting Antwerp off from international trade. Sea access via the Scheldt remains a problem to this day. The Dutch apparently are still butthurt. Antwerp's Protestant population was given 4 years to settle their affairs before leaving. More than half of them headed north. Most of them skilled tradesmen. This massive brain drain, coupled with the brain drains from other southern towns, heralded the golden age of Holland and Zeeland. Much to Farnese's frustration, Antwerp, once the cultural and economic center of all 17 Netherlands, withered to dust, while the northern cities like Amsterdam, Leiden and Haarlem in Holland thrived.